Hi, everyone. Welcome to Precisely Nowhere. Super excited to be back for another episode. I'm your host, Anissa Rosales, or Anissa Rosales, if I channel my Spanish accent, which I don't always do. And I don't know why, because I do love the sound of my name when I roll my R and say it properly. I guess the lazy person in me sometimes just says it. Anywho, so welcome back. Very excited to be wrapping up the reflection series that I've spent August really reflecting on my 20s as I just turned 30. By the time this episode comes out, I will have been 30 for almost a week, which is exciting. It is very bittersweet that my 20s are coming to an end, but I don't know. I just am really embracing it and am loving life. It's definitely been a whirlwind of a year and stressful, with the cross country move and just organizing all of that. And also, Marco and I, our relationship's been growing and definitely been challenged in lots of good ways. But, with challenges just comes growth and opportunities for pushing myself definitely as an individual, but also our relationship forward as we're both growing and we're both going through new obstacles and challenges. So it's been a year of growth, that's for sure. I'm excited for the growth to continue. I took a course recently, a artist side hustle course, and it was a week long. There was a lesson, and the next day there would be a live Zoom. I wasn't obviously able to join all of them because I do have a full-time job, but I spent the night one of the weekends catching up on them, and then basically have just been outside of work catching up on everything. And it's been so inspiring. The whole gist of it was about an artist's side hustle and ways to create income from art. And the woman, the instructor, she's been an entrepreneur for over a decade. I think almost 2 decades by now. And just hearing her story on how she, to an extent, stumbled upon being an entrepreneur was really inspiring. She took a leap of faith and there was definitely lots of trial and error, and she's sharing her learnings and with this community. And I found her on Instagram. I was targeted something and I looked into her and she looked really legit and I just went with it. So it was a lot of hard work because, working full time and doing this podcast and then also trying to still push myself to grow, as an artist and creator, takes time and energy. And there's been so much going on between the move and that it can be easy to just kind of want to turn the TV on and not keep pushing myself mentally in new ways just because I just honestly want a break. Um, but I'm just super glad that I pushed myself to do this course, and I am looking forward to taking more courses. I have signed up for courses in the past and not finished them. So I am making a goal for myself to finish the courses that I've already signed up for before I sign up for new ones. This course helped re-inspire me and kind of remind myself that I do need to hold myself accountable. And I think part of this is my I've always been ambitious to take on more than I can chew at times. I think typically, in my professional life, I've been in my career for years. And so sometimes I can take on things and it's easier for me to pick them up and move quickly. But as a creator, I'm really honestly new to being a creator. I've always been creative growing up with painting and crafting, but really trying to grow my podcast and push myself, and really focus in on growing my podcast and growing as a creator is something that I'm still new to doing, and especially balancing that with real life and my relationship, my career, and, spending time with friends and family. So I'm trying to not overwhelm myself, as tempting as it is, because sleep is important. And, it isn't until I'm like a couple weeks into the grind that I'm like, why am I so exhausted? Well, partially because I am pushing myself in every way possible right now and have been doing that for the past 6 months plus. So I think my body is just finally like, okay, let's figure out some balance here. We still got to keep growing, but something that I learned in this course that I took, I wanted to share with you all was the concept of slow growth. That is something I'm going to be talking about in September. I really want to bring intention behind all of these episodes and in new ways now that I'm solo hosting. So I am thinking about doing series, each month. And the episodes obviously won't just be focused on one thing, but it'll help ground the purpose of the content so that it really feels intentional and there are clear takeaways for everyone that's listening. So slow growth is something I will be talking a lot about in this next month. But as we wrap up the reflection series and my 20s, just wanted to take some time and reflect, even though I have been doing that for the past month, but just on balancing a career with, a side hustle or any passion project and the idea of growth, as an individual when you're in a relationship. As you've heard me say, I think growing is something that's exciting, but it is challenging. And I find that being a woman and nothing against men, but just sometimes being a woman and the way that we're socialized, this expectation of we are, we're the caregivers. And I mean, I'm not going to get too far into stereotypes of what a traditional woman is, but just the concept and way that we're socialized to be caregivers and we're just so considerate and we're thinking of all of these, just juggling all of these people, whether it's people at work, people in our relationships, we're just caring and thoughtful and are able to multitask and have a million things in our brain and work on multiple things or have 3 different conversations all at the same time, whether it's via text and then FaceTime or etc. So I found myself falling into those pressures, especially as I try to take on more in certain aspects of my life or am growing and, now in a relationship and talking about the next steps of starting a family and also still wanting to maintain my individuality and my own passions and dreams. And I've seen, I have a lot of strong, amazing women in my family and I'm so grateful for that because I have honestly like real life examples of how to juggle it all. I mean, I don't think anything's perfect. It can be messy and there's definitely trial and error, I think, in anyone's journey to find that balance that feels comfortable for you and helps you feel fulfilled and I think the level of fulfillment probably ebbs and flows. That's something that I've been encountering recently of just wanting to be the best partner, but also, the best teammate when it comes to my work and then the best podcast host and creator. There's just so many different groups of people and things that I'm juggling and it can feel overwhelming at times, but something I've learned in my recent course that I took was just to also celebrate the growth. And as long as I'm taking steps forward, that is the important thing to focus on. I definitely am impatient and I have found myself like wanting to grow quicker at times, but sometimes those like shortcuts and just overwhelming myself to an extent, I found it's really not the best path forward because sometimes in doing that you're not giving your best self in every scenario because you're giving so much maybe to everything that there's not enough left for you. And then, for me, for instance, my fuse can be short in maybe being reactive and I catch myself and I'm like, maybe it's because I'm tired or I just feel like I've been on the go so much that I haven't had time to just be and relax and watch something that makes me laugh without, having to get up and run another errand and just giving myself time to truly breathe. is something that I'm working on. And I wanted to share those thoughts with you because, it's something I'm also learning in my journey as a creator and having discovered my passion and trying to balance the side hustle with, a full time career and just life and trying to really make sure I'm giving enough to my passion so that I feel fulfilled at the end of the day. I do know that I can handle a lot, but being a creator has definitely challenged me in great ways and made me really appreciate even more so people that are just hustling out there or just people that are like moms who are juggling a family and their own career and a husband, or even if it's, friends and family. Just it's pretty amazing how much women can manage, and it inspires me to keep pushing myself, but also take time to smell the flowers because you do want to, really be present in the moment, or at least I do. So, and I feel like being present in the moment is sometimes when I come to my have these nuggets of ideas that I then like write down, and I'm like, okay, this is something that I'm going to talk about on the podcast, or just something that makes me reflect and really like learn more about myself. So definitely encourage you to take some time to do that if you found yourself on the go. Maybe life's been a little busy and hectic, or you just have found like, when's the last time I took some time to just like breathe and do something mindless to an extent? Recently, I was scrolling and, I'd celebrated my birthday with my family and then indulged in wine and didn't get the best night's rest. Not wasn't hungover, but didn't get the best night's rest. So I got up in the morning and I just went and laid on the couch. Marco was still sleeping and I didn't want to wake him up. So I was watching TV and then scrolling through trying to find a movie and found this funny comedy movie, Joyride. It is hilarious. I don't want to say it's raunchy because I feel like raunchy is not the word. The creators of it are the creators of Neighbor and the co-screenwriter, I believe, of Crazy Rich Asians. It's really funny. It's beautifully shot and it's set in China for the most part. It has four lead women actors that are all of Asian descent, and two of them I have watched in other like TV shows, especially Ashley Park. She's in Emily in Paris. So I was immediately drawn in when I saw her and some of the other cast that I was familiar with, but hilarious. It's definitely vulgar. I'm here for it. Women being liberated. The whole gist of it, honest, and the whole premise of it also is them really finding themselves and living their most authentic life. They're all very different. That's what makes the movie really, is just how they're so different and sometimes in their own little worlds. But by the end of it, really come together and also learn how to truly embrace themselves. The growth that happens like by the end of the movie, it was really heartfelt. And there was moments when I was like laughing, also tearing up, also then amazed with just the aesthetics and the fashion. I love to travel, so seeing them travel throughout China was really cool too. So I watched it with Marco actually, and he was super excited to watch it again. And I just really vibe with them. Like, I love a feel good. My go to used to be feel good rom coms. Not sure if I just like have watched too many of those or finally in a relationship. So I'm like, all right, I get this fixed every day of my life. So, and still in the honeymoon phase. So definitely get that. But comedies have really grown on me the past few years. I think COVID definitely had an impact on that as well. Date night idea, if you're a comedy fan. Let's see what else I've been watching and consuming. Oh, Ballers. Marco recently discovered Ballers. I've watched most of it already, but I'm not caught up on the latest season. Highly recommend. Especially if you're like in that I mean, I love a good sports show, and also I feel like I learned some financial literacy things watching the show. Huge fan of The Rock, and the music is great in it. I just love watching shows sometimes with Marco because, well, a lot of times, but he just knows all these random fun facts and loves to look people up and deep dive into the background characters even sometimes too. So apparently Denzel Washington's son, he's one of the main people. Had no idea. Literally watched the show for years, no idea, and learned so many random things from Marco one episode in. So definitely recommend Ballers. That's with The Rock, and he's definitely an entrepreneur and he's hustling. I think that's why I first really liked the show. We used to kind of see that behind the scenes what it takes, and then this sneak peek into this world of fame and what happens when you sometimes come into money and you've never had money, and you also have people around you that may not always have your best interest in heart, even though they're your family or your friends, and just the importance of like financial literacy. It's definitely inspired me to be more financially literate. Suits, we've been watching. Marco discovered it. We started watching it on the road trip actually. It's so good. Meghan Markle, that was like Meghan Markle's like put her on the map. And look at her now. It is a really good show. Learn lots of things that I feel like I've applied in my work life and day-to-day life. Honestly, with the realities of life and the importance of lawyers. I feel like people underestimate lawyers. Lawyers are so important. So if you want to learn some things, definitely check out Ballers or Suits if you want some laughs and want to see the world and women live their authentic lives and take no shits and give no fucks. Check out Joyride. Super funny. And in plugging content, want to plug also Gold Digger, Jenna Kutcher. It's a huge marketing podcast. I stumbled upon her a couple years ago. She definitely an inspiration to me. She went from, working in like marketing to being a freelance wedding photographer to then, starting a podcast. She's very vulnerable and gives lots of advice. Um, that is applicable to really anyone that's honestly looking to grow. So highly recommend checking her out. And she's also an inspiration because she's a mom and she's juggling, being a mom and having now working for herself. And also she has, some people that work for her. So juggling being a boss and definitely life goals. Can't wait to get there. And Giggly Squad, my girls Hannah and Paige. I stumbled upon them from a Bravo show, Summer House, and then they ended up launching a podcast a couple years ago. So been huge fans of theirs, and they are hilarious and just shoot the shit. Honestly, as two friends. So if you're looking for some like easygoing content that is gonna make you laugh, I would definitely check them out. Do you want to support other women? And I love seeing women go after their dreams. It keeps me inspired to keep going after my dreams. And I just think it's important to share that with you guys because it takes a village to accomplish your dreams sometimes and just to stay motivated. And I definitely am a positive thinker and manifester on my own, but it really helps when I consume content from women and just other people that are living their truth and encouraging others to do the same. It keeps me on my path. So I want to share that with you to help, maybe inspire you to think about if you have any goals or what kind of content you like to consume, and just to keep that in mind as you discover something or stumble upon, whether it's like a podcast or music. What are you listening to, or how are you engaging with content, and is it aligned with your larger goal of maybe how you want to grow as a person or things you want to learn about, or honestly like the people that are in your life. And it sounds silly to say, but they are to an extent, when we're watching shows and listening to things. So just think about that. I feel like it's easy for us to sometimes overlook people's values as creators or actors or actresses. Um, I feel like as I've gotten older, been more mindful of like, okay, is this person that I'm like engaging with like aligned with like my way of thinking or just thoughts at all? And we don't have to have the same values, but morals, having the same morals is important to me. I definitely don't want to be closed minded ever to people that have different views or perspectives, but I do like to prioritize people that have perspectives that I feel like are more in line with my morals and to an extent like opening up new ways of thinking for me that are helping me grow in good ways as a person. So just want to encourage everyone to give it that a thought because it can be easy for us to overlook those things. And I feel like they are important, especially when we're taking time and energy out of our day to consume, their content. Well, this month has been a great one. I feel like August and the summer flew by, which is kind of a bummer, but not really. I mean, just to the extent that I'm like, I love summer so much, and I feel like it's literally on its way out. I went to Walmart last weekend, and fall is here, like literally pumpkins galore, fall, everything, acorns, leaves, all of the above. I did indulge and get a few decorating things from the apartment, but it's wild how quickly time passes. I mean, it's already going to be September, and then before we know it's going to be 2024. It's pretty crazy, but also thrilling to like at the same time. Um, yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like, I mean, I'm like, how am I already 30? Ugh, I know 30 is not old, but I'm just like, what happened to my 20s? Just goes by time. People always say, "Well, the older you get, time goes by even more quickly." And I used to be like, "Really?" But I think it's kind of true, which is why it's so important to live in the present and really enjoy like each day and be grateful for it because, you blink and then you're 30 and then you're 40 and you're like, what I mean, what did I do, all those 10 years? I mean, your 20s were a wild ride for sure. Lots of ebbs and flows, growth, um, lots of flip cup and wine and food, so much traveling. I can't say I would regret anything. I was actually talking to Marco and saying how I think it, about how my 20s, kind of glad that I was single and um, just had time to really do me and focus on me for part of it. I mean, I did date and did have like was let down sometimes and I would like certain people or date them and it wouldn't work out. But I am just glad that I had some time to focus on me. I feel like it was important for me to do that so that going into, this relationship, I I don't feel that need to do as certain things that I would do single or love doing. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm still living my best life, but I had a lot of time to like be alone to an extent, and it's so nice to now get to share my life with a partner and it doesn't hurt that Margot loves to cook and I cook for survival. So it's also been super nice that um like we've been able to balance each other out with like him cooking and me cleaning and us just doing our thing and having our side hustles and also careers and supporting each other and that's also been really nice. When we first started dating, I would talk about podcasts a lot and I guess I did hope one day I would launch my own podcast, but thought that was like a moonshot and not realistic, but was also inspired by him because Marco's been balancing his side hustle for years. He has a passion and it's music, and he's been DJing since he was 13. So he's not one of those DJs because right now it's such a fad for people to become DJ. You know, he's been DJing since high school. It's a passion of his. Music is huge in his family. He's gone to school for it, so it is something he loves. And I loved learning about that, you know, when we were dating, and thought that was inspiring that he was still juggling his passion for this many years. And it's like almost like he's a pro at juggling it now, but also we're in a relationship and I have a side hustle. So it is also us like learning how to grow together and balance each other's side hustles, because it's definitely different when one person just has a side hustle versus two. And he also helps with mine because he's the editor. So lots of balancing um, our relationship with our other loves. And I love seeing him continue to push himself. And it's super important for me for us to be able to both balance our passion projects. It can be hard at times with, you know, life responsibilities and also wanting to make time for our relationship. But I know it's something as individuals that's super important to each of us. So, and, you know, it's something that we talk about frequently and something that I'm just adamant about in terms of making sure we both get to accomplish our dreams, because I feel like sometimes it can be easy to put your dreams on a back burner for, you know, your partner, and sometimes that's needed based on your life circumstances and what's going on. But you know, he and I are young and we don't have a family yet, and you know, we have just dreams and goals, and I think that we deserve to realize those and bring them to life. And it takes a lot of work, but we're both more fulfilled when we're spending time on our passion. And, you know, it's something that we talk about and reflect on. And I'm so grateful for him to have really pushed me to create this podcast. He knew it was something that I was super interested in, and he like gave me that nudge that I needed. And when I do doubt myself at times, he gives me that encouragement. So I'm really grateful and happy for that. Um, Being a creator is not a straightforward thing, and it's not rainbows and sunshine always. There are those challenging days, so I'm glad that I have him in my corner. And I mean, I know that I'm amazing and hot shit, but there are times when it does help, you know, to hear it from a different voice and not just my own. So thank you, Marco, for all your support. I tell him that I couldn't have done this without him. And he always is like, yes, you can. But I think it would have taken me a little longer to get the courage to do this. And that's why I'm so grateful to him, because, you know, I can be a pusher at times in all the best ways. And I want the best for him. And, you know, he does that for me too when I need it. So really grateful to him for that and believing in me. I feel like I believe in myself a lot, but it can be scary sometimes to put yourself out there and do something that's like so out of left field or feels out of left field when it's really just not. So I feel like I'm partially distracted because my best friend's coming now in T minus an hour, and I'm like, I can't wait. But anyway, wrapping up this episode, I just want to say thank you to everyone that's listening. I'm so excited for my 30s and to keep thriving and to keep encouraging you to thrive at all ages, because the thriving is not going to stop here. And my 30s are just, I mean, you know, they say 30s are the new 20s. So I'm here for it. Lots of change and growth is coming, and it's going to be amazing. And I am excited to bring you all along my journey. It's going to be a wild and fun ride. And I can't wait to bring to life our goals for when we're 30 and for this next year. You know, last episode, I challenged everyone to think and reflect on what you want out of this next year, you know, whether that's personally, professionally, romantically, you know, with your friendships, and write those down. So if you haven't done that, try to push yourself. There's no harm in doing it, but try to push yourself to do it. And if you need a refresher on the steps to take, check out the last episode, which is on youthful dreams and, you know, me turning 30 for steps on how to work on this exercise on your own. And I am going to be posting more content and encouraging people to DM me and share, you know, share the goals that they've written down that they want to accomplish for the next year so that I can help be an accountability partner if you need one. Because I do want to show up for you all outside of the podcast. And I do mean it when I want to help encourage you to pursue your goals and your dreams and keep growing. And shout out to my nephew and niece that are super freaking cute, so adorable. I like can't get enough of them, and I love that my she's basically my sister, so I'm just gonna start calling her my sister, even though she's my cousin. My sister's fiance listens to the podcast in the car, and my nephew is almost 3 and recognizes his auntie's voice, and it's super cute that he does that. And I just am so grateful for my sister's fiance for listening and just all the support my family gives me. It's pretty amazing. You guys are awesome. Thank you for being so supportive. And yeah, here's to, you know, family and another year of thriving. And I wish you all a great week. And we're going to keep thriving together. Trust me, I will hold you to it. Margot knows I can be a pusher in all the best ways, but I honestly just want the best for this community. And I want to do my part in spreading the love and the positivity and not just talking about accomplishing goals, but actually doing it and doing it with you all. So excited to be back another week, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Music and editing done by Marco. You can find him at midnight, MIDNITE_mind80 on Instagram for more of his work.